All right, Doc.
So this next one, when one supplements with GH, is it prudent to include T4 versus T3 in the supplementation regimen, and why would it be?
This is a girl, I think, actually.
That's what?
This is a girl. It's a woman,
Oh,
actually. Yeah.
well, this is interesting because, GH wouldn't necessarily make it necessary to jigger your thyroid at all. A lot of the releasing hormones, though, for example, one that's unrelated, so I don't mix things up with the question she's asking. If you use HCG, it is an analog of thyroid releasing hormone. So you could be taking HCG to, obviously, take the effect of luteinizing hormone, supplant the effect of luteinizing hormone to make the Leydig cells make more testosterone, right? But you could also be raising your thyroid levels indirectly, meaning not intentionally, by using HCG because it acts like thyroid releasing hormone. When you use GH, I can't think of how growth hormone releasing hormone or somatostatin, which if you overdid it, in other words, and again, if this is and I don't mean this in a pejorative sense, but if it's a bodybuilder using this not as a replacement, but in super physiologic proportions, then you're going to get some somatostatin release. And that tends to slow things down a bit. It's putting the brakes on, obviously, your own production, but it's a reaction to, hey, this is too much growth hormone. And what that can do is it can slow motility of the bowel, which is a big thing. And again, a whole other issue about, at least my opinion, as to why, part of the reason why you get the GH belly.
Yes.
I think we might have talked about this in an old video about, a lot of that is just poop because of the motility slowing down. Prudent, not necessarily at all. I apologize if I haven't done my homework well enough on this one, but there's a lot of legend in the bodybuilding world about using Cytomel T3 prior to a show because it's going to help you dice up. We've done plenty of studies on non-bodybuilders, which you're going to see a lot more of those than when we're using guys that are doing exogenous T well beyond the norm in the gym. But adding 25 micrograms of T3, which is what we see a lot of, right, in the bodybuilding world, it's not going to do anything but tell your body to
readjust.
Your body's going to say, okay, well, then I only have to produce this much. And I tell people, and there's plenty of studies, by the way, to support using exogenous thyroid. And the most active form is T3. Mm-hmm. T4, a lot of people say it's a potential and it converts. I think, if I remember correctly, about 20% of it is actually useful as an active form of thyroid, if you will. But most people look at it as a potential to convert to the active form T3. But no matter how you look at it, it's not going to help you dice up. And how do we know that? We've done separate studies on non-bodybuilders to see that it doesn't help with weight loss. And even with the bodybuilders, we couldn't do a study because you're stacking 16 other things on top of the T3. If you used 200 micrograms of T3, first of all, your eyes would be bugging out of your head. You wouldn't get any sleep. You'd probably have palpitations. But my point being that, here's the level that is maxed out where you're trying to really rev up the engine, if you will, and I look at it as really you're just increasing the idle speed. Right. Okay, increasing the idle speed on a car is not going to burn that much fuel. Okay, compared to throwing a 454 in that puppy, even just starting the car and going, vroom, which is the equivalent of having more muscle mass is going to burn way more fuel. Yeah. Okay, so we're even going down the wrong path, even thinking this way. But okay, if you think that the increasing your idle speed is going to help you that much, you have to replace the difference between here and where you want to go. Just like with testosterone replacement therapy, and it's not quite linear, but for our discussion purposes, you have to replace the whole deal because the body's just going to go, fine, we won't produce anymore. And there'll be an initial reaction that you'll feel a little bit more revved up because the body doesn't shut down right away, but it does pretty quickly. Yeah. So what's the point of doing that? Based upon, again, the 454 analogy, don't waste time. Put on the muscle mass. That will get rid of the fat, and don't mess around with T4 or T3. And again, I apologize. I don't know why it would be that you would want to throw that in there.
It's an urban legend. People has been around gyms for years.
Yeah, but why with GH? Again, other than what I'm saying about the somatostatin, if anything, to reverse the effects of somatostatin, slowing the bowels or whatever, you might want to get a 5-HTP4 enhancer, which I don't think we have in this country anymore. Resilor is the brand name. You get it in other countries, and we used to use. It was called not Cisapride, but it starts with a C. It was a motility drug that we thought affected the heart. Another 5-HTP enhancer, but it had 5-HTP4 and another 5-HTP, which tended to affect the heart muscle. So we pitched it, but it was great for motility. That would make sense to counter effect. If again, I'm having to read into these questions because why? What is the rationale behind? Oh, you got to throw that in because this is what's happening when you use GH.
Yeah.
Is it because you feel kind of sluggish and bloated because things aren't moving as well? But so things to keep your bowel moving. A choline, CDP choline, or any sort of choline that'll convert to acetylcholine will also help the bowels move a little bit faster. That would be a better choice than increasing the thyroid.
Gotcha.